Back in 2012, when I started my Bachelor's of Technology or BTech in India, I was completely clueless. All of us, we are in our phases where we are trying to go through the school and trying to keep up with all of the social pressures which come with it. And that is you have to clear the IIT exams, you have to write some kind of other exams whatsoever, university entrances and so on. So when I started my BTech, like most of the other Indian students, the path is very defined, as in you do your BTech. If you're able to get a good package there, then you can directly start the job. If you don't, you do your MTech from some IIT or something, you at least try for it. And if that also doesn't work, you prepare for IES or something, and then bank exams whatsoever. I think a lot of people these days go into SSC or the civil services, and they just try a lot. For them, it is all about figuring out a way that you are able to be socially, reputed and socially respected in front of your neighbors, family, relatives, whatsoever. And my path was actually going in a very similar direction. When I started my BTech, I was like, okay, let me see what the seniors are doing, because you, as somebody who is starting new, anyways have zero idea about how things are going to be for you. So you try to figure out a way from understanding what the people ahead of you are doing, right? People who have already crossed that journey. So I was doing the same. And the thing which started was, okay, let's start preparing for a GATE exam, because after GATE you're able to go for MTech and stuff. And that is exactly what I started doing, I think back in 2015 or something. Or no, not even before that, I think 2014. I mean, it went in a direction where I was like, I cannot be sitting again together with so many people in the exact same room preparing for exam, which people are dropping for 2 or 3 years and are still trying to clear that exam so that they can do the MTech. And I'm telling you, right now, so I'm 27 right now. My batchmates who studied the BTech and stuff together, I saw many of them getting jobs now. So they're essentially starting their life now. They prepare for the government exams and stuff for 2-3 years. Meanwhile, they did their MTech or something. Many of them did non-attending MTech, which is, I don't know, kind of just feels like a scam to me, because how can you do such an important degree not being in the university and so on. So this is how things went for most of the people, and this is exactly how things would have gone for me. I would have finished my master's in 2018 or something in India, and then I would have prepared for the exams for 2-3 years. So we would be in 2022, and I would still be in India, and I would be preparing for a government exam and still sitting in my home and working for 10-12 hours a day. And it wouldn't have been that nice, because after a while you don't really have so much desire to still sit at home and learn things. You also want to start living your life, especially when you are 27. Your youth is almost already behind you, so you have to start figuring out a way to live your life. So when I actually took this other decision of going to Germany, things really changed. A lot of you know about my time in the university, because all of the videos that you saw on my channel, these are essentially from my university times, from 2017 to 2019, where I was still a student. I was making videos about studying in Germany and stuff. Now there are so many people who are having a "in Germany" at the back of their name, and of course everybody came after me. I was the first one who started talking about Germany as the education hub, and now of course there's so many other people. But that initiative gave me so many opportunities, so many different kind of branches that I could take, and I actually did. I did not go through the standard path of going to the university, taking a job or something. I started my own things, and we just didn't start one thing, we started multiple different kind of things. So in this video, because you must have been seeing in the past few months, I'm not that much active on YouTube, and we are trying to show the snippets from the previous videos. We are making shots and stuff directly on the YouTube channel. My team is helping me with that. So I thought it's a good idea to sit down and tell you like how exactly life developed after my university in Europe, because of course it was supposed to be in Germany, but we didn't stay in Germany. We just started traveling around because it was like, if you have all of these different opportunities ahead of you, if you have all of these countries in front of you and you can go to any country without any kind of problem, so why wouldn't you, right? So this is the reason like we then did a lot of different things. My university finished in December 2019. That was when I gave my master thesis defense, a presentation in front of the professor and the supervisor, and I got my final score, and that was it. So our idea was that, like, you know, this Bharat in Germany, this initiative that I started about like bringing information about studying in Germany and stuff to the students who are still not studying in Germany. I was like, if I really want to like make it grow and if I really want to be serious about this, I think I have to move to a place where we are completely secluded from everything. And Alina was of the same opinion, and so we decided that okay, it might not be a bad idea to actually move to this island in Denmark, which is in the middle of nowhere. You just have a population of 6,000 people, and there's only 2 or 3 supermarkets. Like, there are 3 supermarkets on the island. There are not many restaurants and stuff, especially in the winter season. There's like, everything is absolutely almost closed, so you don't have any opportunity to go out, eat things. You don't have any kind of distraction. So we did the best possible thing. So we were like, okay, we are going to focus completely on the things that we started. And how do we do this? We actually isolate ourselves, go to a place where like we have absolutely 0 distractions, and we start from there. So we bought this house on this island in Denmark, Ero, and this is also the same island where we got married. So it had some kind of sentimental value to us. So we were like, okay, we buy whatever we can. And at that time we didn't have a lot of money, so we bought a house in a very bad condition. I mean, it's the electricity was done wrong, the pipes were like, you know, badly placed. There were a lot of problems in the house, but we were like, we don't want to take loan and we don't want to have massive amounts of debt on us, but we also want to actually move away. So we found a house which was actually very cheap when you compare with the prices right now, and it was very nice. It was back from like 1782. That's when the first part of the house was built, so it was also like very historic almost. Nice property. We had 2,400 square meters and everything, so there was a lot of space to like go out and like, you know, just sit and relax and like sit in the nature and stuff. All of these things were very important. Plus we had, I think, one of the best internet on the island. We have like fiber cables, so we have around 1000 Mbps. So that was again very important whenever you're trying to do something which has to do with internet, like YouTube, building websites and so on. So we went and we actually underestimated how much work there was supposed to be in the house. And that time, like, our businesses were not running well. If you would remember, like, you know, my master's finished in December 2019, and you all remember what happened in January 2020, and that is like the coronavirus outbreak, and all of the lockdowns and everything started directly after that. So I think in February or March there were already lockdowns there. That was again a scary time for all of us, because we were also thinking that, you know, we are going to rent out the house. We are going to rent out one side of the house on Airbnb so that like we can sustain ourselves on the island. But none of it worked out, because we were thinking like, okay, like, you know, we already start renting out and stuff, but with the lockdowns and stuff, we were like, you know, what are we going to do now? So that really built into the scare factor and the motivation of getting out of this situation in a better way. If I look back and think about this decision of moving to an island in Denmark, I mean, like, and renting out the house and making a living from it and stuff, that was very naive, because before you rent out a house in any shape or form, you have to put a lot of money inside, you have to renovate it, you have to make it look nice, because otherwise the ratings that you get on Airbnb and stuff, they are like very brutal. Like, you will find some, like, you know, nice guests here and there, but we also have our experiences with like some guests like who were like completely unfriendly and stuff. So you will have both of these things, and when I really think about it, I think like maybe that was not the best decision that we could have done, but it definitely resulted in a very good direction going ahead. So 2020, like, we had absolutely, like, you know, no problems with COVID and stuff, because it was like super chilled out. We have no cases on the island, and it was very, very comfortable. It was very nice. Around June, so then everything opened up within Denmark. So like the people who were living in Denmark, they were allowed to go within Denmark to other places for vacations and things like that. So like when that happened, I think around July we started renting out the Airbnb. It was actually running decently. So like I think we made around like 6,000 euros in that first year, and that was not bad. I think like that kind of gave some of the money back that we invested in the house. But the money that we invested so far in the house, that's like insane amounts, but we are like thinking about it in the long run, right? So was very nice. And this is also like around the time when I got my first ever intern slash full-time employee, who like also started working with me full-time. And that was also a different experience for us, because as long as you're like doing things for yourself, and I think like this is something I can tell you guys, if you want to have your own things, as long as you're working for yourself, you can afford to get lazy, you can afford to not do things and stuff. But as soon as you know that whatever you're doing, this has to feed another person too, this has to make somebody else also make their living and pay their house bills and rents and everything, then you start thinking differently. Then with this added feeling of responsibility, your character starts developing. You start figuring out ways to take more responsibility, ways to make more money and stuff, and this actually really helps. So if you're in a stage where like you're thinking about, okay, should I hire somebody, should I not hire somebody, I think like hiring somebody can definitely give you that extra boost in order to stay consistent and figuring something out to do with your life. So December hit, and in Denmark in December 2020 I actually got very sick. So I was just having a lot of cough, I was not able to breathe, and it went on for a very long time. I think like around 45 days or something. It's like you have this wheezing sound when you're trying to breathe in and breathe out, and that was not nice. So it turns out I had asthma, and this was winter induced asthma. I'm not a person who had asthma my entire life or something, but in this one duration. So went to the doctor, they gave me these inhalers and stuff, but I was this is really not nice. I do not want to live in cold weathers again, especially when I can avoid being there. So Alina and I discussed, we were this is going to be the last time we are going to spend our winters entirely in Europe, so we have to figure out maybe some warmer countries where we can live. So with that, we also started thinking about our further decisions of establishing our proper companies and stuff, and there we came to the very nice idea of starting a company in Romania. And I think this solved a lot of our problems that we were facing with having our business in Germany, because if you know about Germany, I mean, it's great for employees, it's great for students. You cannot find a better country in Europe for both of these two things. But as soon as you think about starting your own business, things get complicated. Registering your business is easy, of course, not a problem at all, but then keeping up with the paperwork, that becomes difficult. Almost every single week or every second week, you're going to get some kind of letter from Finanzamt, we'll get some kind of letter from this association where your employees have to be registered and so on. You will have additional costs of accounting and so on. So we were if you really have to grow, this is not going to take us anywhere. If we are constantly in this battle of just paperwork and talking to the Finanzamt, paying fines for missing deadlines and things like that. So I was this is not a good idea. And that was when we decided. I think in January I also got to do my driving license in 2021, and that was a big thing for me, because to get my driving license done in Germany I had to hire a lawyer, because the German authorities, first of all, I asked them to change my Indian driving license to the German driving license, and with that you have to do some kind of practical classes and stuff to write the exam in the end, and also have to learn the theory and things like that. So I was okay, this will go fine, it will not be problematic. But turns out, because we shifted place, we were living in Hamburg previously, and then we moved to another city called Buxtehude, and that's when everything just went absolutely crazy, because the people in Hamburg did send the documents to Buxtehude, but they were no, you have to file another application, things like that. So that became very, very stupid. So it took us almost 1.5 years for us to get the driving license in the end. But that finally happened. I got my driving license, and then we packed our bags. We have this Volkswagen Caddy which fits a lot of stuff inside. And if you would watch our vlogs from going to Romania and stuff, it was completely full to the top. And we took this car 2,000 kilometers from Hamburg to Bucharest across 3 days of travel. and we finally reached there. And Alina was the one who was figuring out all the ways to book the apartments and stuff for rent and things like that. And this is also where we realized for the first time how it must feel for many of the foreigners who are coming to Germany and not understand the language. Because when I came to Germany, I knew German. I already learned German in my bachelor's time. Alina already grew up in Germany, so for her that was not a problem. She also knows English, so for her it's not a problem to kind of go to most of the places. But when we went to Bucharest, you speak Romanian there. So none of us have any idea of Romanian, and most of the advertisements, most of the information, most of the forms, everything is in Romanian. So we were like, okay, this is going to be a problem for us. And that's where if you're going to a bigger city, of course you find people who speak English. It was still a little bit easier for us. We got things done with lawyers and accountants and everything, so it was not so dramatic. And all of this build up was something that still took a lot of courage. I mean, if you think about it, going to a country where you have absolutely no idea, you have absolutely no relatives. Of course, many of you guys feel that way about Germany. I already went to Germany, then we already went to Denmark, then we already are now moving to Romania. So we didn't stay in one place. We saw that we have all of these opportunities, all of these countries. So let's try to figure out a place which we can also spend some more time in. Went to Romania in Bucharest, and it was a huge change for us, living in an island for almost 1 year, back and forth, and spending a lot of time there, and having no distractions, no restaurants, no supermarkets and stuff. And then all of a sudden going to a big metropolitan city. I think Bucharest has around 2 million people or something, so it's a pretty big city. And then all of a sudden having malls, having people in fancy cars. The building where we stayed in, we were the only people with a Volkswagen Caddy. Everybody else would have either a fancy Mercedes, a Porsche, Audi and things like that. So that was another boost that we got, that okay, we already worked for a lot of things, but I think if you want to take the next step in life, you have to work even harder. So 2021 defined that year for us, where we decided that okay, we have gotten to a good stage, but now it's time to work even harder and figure out more ways to be financially stable. Because with the COVID crisis still going on, we had no idea how long the immigration is still going to work out, if students are still going to come to Germany and stuff, what kind of other things should we start and so on. So in 2021 we essentially then started Alina's wedding business. So she started she figured out how to file the applications and stuff, and make sure that these applications also actually go through, because many times if you fill out the applications on your own, you make mistakes, and when you make mistakes, the process gets very, very long. So Alina's marriage business started, I started my marketing consulting agency, then we had Big Academy, new courses coming out there. And this was also the time when we went to Norway, we went to Denmark again, and then we just decided, okay, this time we do not want to spend the winters again in a colder country, so we decided to go to Turkey. We were of course making our pit stop like we always do in Bucharest in Romania, where we are also living and have our company. So this time we decided that okay, we were already renting out previously in this newly built apartment complex, so we also bought a new apartment there, and that was the second property that we have, and without taking any kind of loans and stuff, because we just really like to not have this stress of having any kind of loan. So we rather save money for a while and then buy something. So that's what we did, and we did all of the paperwork, everything was ready, and then afterwards we then decided to go to Turkey. So October till January 2022 we were staying in Turkey, and we started our weight loss journey. So when I came to Turkey in October, I was around 105.6 kilos. And then till the time I left, I was losing around, I think I lost around 13 kilograms, 13 or 15 kilograms, something like that. So that was a big thing. I'm still 13 kilograms down from my highest point. And this was a very good experience for us, because we realized that weight loss is actually also possible, because we had figured out the financial part of the life, but we had to then figure out the health part too. Because without any kind of health, finances, it does not matter how much money you have. If you're having problems, then it's a bad thing. I think I also read this quote somewhere, which is A healthy man wants 1,000 things, a sick man only wants one thing. And during this weight loss journey, we just didn't do that. We also sat through the entire New Year's Eve. Many of you know that when we launched the Fast German A1 course, we were working from 21st December onwards, and we launched the course on 1st January, and we were already working for the next few weeks to build out more content for the A1. So we were not taking any kind of break while we were also going to the gym and stuff. We lost decent amount of weight, and then we also had these new courses out which are adding a lot of value to the people. The Turkey chapter got over for that time. Then afterwards we went to Romania, then we went back to Denmark, and in Denmark I finally found the car that I always wanted to buy, because again, Volkswagen Caddy is nice when you're living on the island and you have to carry a lot of stuff around. But if you would see from Aero till Fatih, I think it's almost 3,400 kilometers, and when you're driving it with a car which really caps out at 140 kilometers per hour and it's really shaking, it's very difficult to travel these long distances. And we don't like to take flights, we like to go by car, because we have a lot of stuff that we carry with us. So of course I was then looking around for some new cars, and then I decided to buy the Porsche Cayenne. And I always wanted to own a Porsche because I think BMW, Audi, Mercedes, I think that's just way too common for Germany. You just see almost every second person having one of these things. But Porsche, these are a lot rare, and also something that I really wanted to buy since I was, I think 12 or something, since I saw one of their ads and I was okay, I have to get this something. So I have a new car too, and I'm very happy with it. It goes 220, 250 without any kind of shakiness, without any kind of problems. And all of the distances that we were traveling previously, they are reduced by at least 1.5 to 2 hours, because it just drives so well, and you can go at a higher speed with this and travel just longer distances. So that was also a big highlight for me for this year, because this was something I always wanted to do. I already had a boat, and that I got I think in 2021, and then for this year was this new car. And these kind of also materialistic things kind of keep you motivated for the next big goals that you can set for yourself. So you can say, okay, once I achieve this, I'm going to have this. Also, this was the goal when we started the weight loss journey. I told Alina, when I lose 10 kilograms, only then I'm going to think of buying this new car that I always wanted to buy. So I lost 15 kilograms, and then I was okay, now is the time to get this new car, and everything just fell in place together. When I think about all of these experiences that I was able to have because I chose a different lifestyle, I did not decide to just do what everybody else was doing. This just got me a lot more memories that I can look back at when I'm really old. I mean, these kind of videos are already super helpful to kind of document this short piece of time duration that I've had from 2020 to 2022. But also when you're growing older and stuff, these kind of things, these kind of achievements are always going to be something that you're going to remember. So that was another thing that we did. And throughout all of these different kind of experiences, the only thing I realized is I never stopped being grateful for where I am right now, because there could have been a very real alternative of me just staying in India, me just preparing for some kind of government exams, still sitting at home with my parents and studying for 10-12 hours a day. Because if you would study for anything less, you would have this guilt feeling that you're not studying enough, and that you're not going to finish the exams, clear the exams, and so on. So we traveled around like crazy. We are just essentially from Norway. I think the farthest we went to was the city called Bergen in Norway, to now the south of Turkey in Fatih. We went through all of these things directly with car. So we saw a lot of different kind of things. We crossed a lot of different kind of borders. We stayed at a lot of custom checks and so on. So that gave us so much different experience just in these, I think 2 years. So 2020 and 2021, and 2022 is this one, right? So in these last 2 years of finishing my university and just making the decision of traveling around and almost living like a digital nomad, we don't stay in a country for more than 3 months. This taught me a lot more than it would have taught me to stay at home with my parents and studying for an exam, because once you're doing that and you're hitting the age of 27, 28, life is almost the majority of the youth is over. A lot of feelings of resentment start coming in, because there was a discussion that we had recently on Instagram, which was about that students shouldn't leave their parents back home, things like that. And many parents are saying that, why do you want to go to Germany? You can find a job here. Is India that bad? that you have to like go to another country, do this and that. But like I'm telling you, like if you let yourself to be talked into a particular decision which is not your choice, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And maybe the regret does not kick in like, you know, right away. Maybe the regret takes a few years for you to realize, oh, there could have been this other path that I could have taken, which would have propelled my life in a completely different direction. But you would just like, you know, never really know about that. So that's why I really believe that at least like whatever we did, traveling around so many different countries and stuff, that taught us a lot of things. And of course, I am no longer a student. So the kind of concerns I have, the kind of like things I'm working on, these are like not student related things. Now, I've already gone through that journey. I've already come to the other side. So I have a lot of experience of how it is, what kind of mistakes to avoid and so on. And now I'm working on like, you know, new and interesting things. And this is the reason why you also might be seeing less of these videos about like, you know, studying and stuff, because I think right now the biggest challenge that we have in front of us that I see for many of the students is changing their mindset. Because coming to Germany does not mean that you will get successful right away. Coming to Germany is the very starting step. And you want to learn from somebody who has already seen some kind of success in Europe, and also like try to model that, try to like learn some kind of lessons from that and seeing what kind of direction you can take to. And I've been very fortunate with all of this. I've worked with a lot of like major companies. We have worked with government associations and bodies like DAAD, Goethe Institute and so on. And now with all of this experience, like we are just working on more interesting things. For example, recently we started financegermany.com. This is a website about anything related to finance in Germany. Then we started Faster German. This is also super interesting, and students are seeing this very positively because the courses are also priced at a very affordable rate, and it is built together with a native German speaker. So you get like the best of both worlds. You get some information and some lessons from somebody who learned German, and then other ones from somebody who already grew up in Germany, so that you can understand the cultural side too. So this is what I'm doing these days. I'm just working on new things, I'm working on new projects, and behind the scenes this is what is happening. And I thought it would be a good idea to explain to you how things went very differently as somebody who graduated a university in Germany and then did not take the standard path. We could just like travel around, but it did not come without its own set of challenges. And one of the biggest ones was, of course, money. Like, you know, where do you earn money in the starting, especially with the COVID crisis and everything. But what I've learned is like, you know, if you just put your head down, you keep working hard, you keep figuring out better ways to like, you know, generate income sources for you. All of these are going to come to you. They sometimes take time, sometimes like you see quick success, but most of the times for most of the people you are going to see that it is going to take some time to you. It is going to take some time for you till things start rolling. And like I said, we are always working on new projects anyway, so the end of the month we actually have two really big things that we have planned for you, and one of this is going to be like very relevant for anybody who's living in Germany, and another one, like I said, the A1 and A2 courses for Fast German are already out. We are also going to be working on the B1, like we are already like, you know, building the curriculum and stuff for that. So B1 is also going to be out for early access towards the end of May. So these are two like, you know, interesting things that we are still working on in the back end so that we can add some value to you. And if you like these kind of videos, you can let me know if you want some kind of tips, advices, lessons about your time in Germany or something. I can definitely share it from my time, what kind of mistakes to avoid and what kind of things to do. That's pretty much it from my side. It was a longer video, but it was a necessary video so that you can realize that it's not just one path that the society decides for you that you have to always take in feeling of guilt or something, because if you do that, like the regret can kick in very quickly, or maybe sometimes later. So always decide things for yourself, always take the craziest paths possible, because that is going to not only build your character, but it is also going to help you further in whatever kind of, you know, initiative you want to start on your own. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.